I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair and send him on his way. Get the picture? I'm gonna wave that man right out of my arms. I'm gonna wave that man right out of my arms. I'm gonna wave that man right out of my arms and send him on his way.
Wrong number. Wrong number. Oh, Sam, you're sweet.
Everything about it is appealing. Everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere can you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra bar. There's no people like show. People may smile when they are low. Yesterday they told you you would not go far. At night you open and there you are.
Somebody big just died. Mitzi Gaynor, star of multiple classic movie musicals, is dead at 93 years old. And here to help eulogize her is the one and only Mike North. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Joe. It's good to talk to you. You know what? I mean, a day of football, but I knew we had to do this for my girl Mitzi. And when I say my girl Mitzi, yeah, I go way back. We go way back. I mean, because Mitzi Gaynor, and this is why this show, I came up with the show, because we're going to be talking about two people tonight. We got Liam Payne, also from One Direction. We're going to be talking about him. We're going to give him an honorable mention, but we're going to go a little bit more into depth about what happened to him, because there's some maybe shenanigans going on. We don't know. But as Joe had to get acquainted with Mitzi Gaynor, I had to do that with Liam Payne. I mean, it's from one generation leaving, and the I mean, one lady lives to be 93, and the other guy again lives to be 31. I mean, just life is funnier than
far too soon.
Well, yeah, and a lot of it might have been his fault. I do know this, that Mitzi Gaynor wasn't involved in any of that stuff, because I'll tell
That's
you,
right.
When I was a kid, 10, 11, 12, 13, you know, we had one TV. We had 5 of us in the house.
Oh,
The
yeah.
old man controlled the remote. That was the way it went. And when Mitzi Gaynor had one of her specials on, or when she was on TV, there she is right there. I think that heels add something. But she was in countless musicals. South Pacific was her big one. That's what really put her over the top. There's No Business Like Show Business with Dan Daly. Ageless. As she was born Francesca Marlene DeShanzi von Gerber. There she is with Marilyn Monroe and Ethel Merman on the right, ladies and gentlemen. She also, The Joker, while if you have never seen it, about the life of comedian Joey Lewis, with Frank Sinatra as the lead. There she is with Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Jimmy Durante. Are you kidding me? Performing in front of the troops. And she was an under-the-radar, underrated, hot, beautiful woman. My dad used to say, you know, the special, my mom's sitting right there. He goes, boy, she's looking good, you know. That's how it was at 50s. There she is. And she could shake it, too. She was such a great dancer. That's why she was in these musicals. Let's watch a little bit here. Look at that.
Yeah, she knew how
She
to
didn't
move,
have to
that's
do
for
too
sure.
much either. You know, and here's the deal. She's a Chicago girl, born in Chicago, and she lived in Elgin. And then from there, they moved to Detroit. And then by age 11 to Hollywood. So they were well-traveled from the time she was born. They were living in 4 different places. Yeah, she could go. And she signed a 7-year contract with 20th Century Fox. She made movies like Blue Heaven with Betty Grable and Dan Daly. She was big. The Golden Girl. She played Lotta Crabtree. Also, the I Don't Care Girl. She made a lot of like entertaining musicals. She was like the dry Esther Williams who did the swimming. She was that way. She worked at different places. She worked for Fox. She worked for 20th Century Fox. She worked for MGM for a while. Paramount. She appeared in the Paramount remake of Anything Goes. She was with co-stars such as Bing Crosby. There she is in South Pacific, where she was the only one that's performed at that. There's been a couple movies like that where she did her own singing. But South Pacific was the role that she wanted as Ensign Nellie Forbush in the Roger and Hammerstein movie. She was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, Motion Picture Comedy, or Musical at the 59 Awards. She did not win. Now, here she is with Marilyn Monroe and Donald O'Connor. I mean, just absolutely never was out of shape.
What a dancer, too.
Yeah, never was out of shape. Even when you see her as she's older, she had that aura. She's the last. I mean, we've lost Kirk Douglas of late. We've lost a lot of the old school people that Billy D. Williams. I mean, but she was from the 40s and 50s. So, like I said, and the cool thing is, later in her career, her husband managed her. She became a featured columnist for the Hollywood Reporter. She was married for 52 years.
God bless.
Her husband was an agent who then became her own personal manager, consigliere, or whatever have you. Now, the big thing was in 1964 when the Beatles came on with Ed Sullivan. The first time they were on, I don't even know who was on. But the second time that they were on the Ed Sullivan Show, they did a set. They did a couple songs. Then they took a break. Ed Sullivan said, they'll be back later on, ladies and gentlemen. They'll be back. Don't worry about it. The Beatles, they'll be back. And Mitzi Gaynor then danced on a tape type of situation where she was in Miami. And then they came back. But what was funny about it is they didn't have no, for their hair, showering and getting ready for the show. They had no hair dryer. So they used her hair dryer, fixed her hair. And then afterwards they all went out to lunch together. And that she always had that connection with them because she was the first person that they met besides Ed Sullivan when they did the Ed Sullivan Show. She was an actress, dancer, entertainer, years active. From 44 to 2021, she played Vegas. She played Around the World. She was outstanding. Her spouse, Jack Bean, married in 1954, died 2006. There she is. And when I said she was in shape, as she was older, she was. I mean, she's in her late 70s and 80s there.
Yeah, it looks the same pretty much. Just older.
Basically. And she was like a classy lady, always handled herself right. There she is with my one of my favorites, Debbie Reynolds. And appearing with other people and stuff like that. She looked absolutely tremendous. And I was sorry to see. She was always in very good shape. Like I said, she was always seemed to be in pretty good health. It says here, and they usually give, they had on October 14th, 1968, she starred in Mitzi, her first television special. She ended up doing 9 of them because they did so well. And as you can see why. So, I mean, she made My Blue Heaven, Golden Girl, There's No Business Like Show Business, The Birds and the Bees, The Joker is Wild, Happy Anniversary, For Love or Money. Just a tremendous classy lady who made not only her livelihood in the movies, but also on television. And I'm not sure if she did radio or not. I doubt that. She was discovered in 1956, and Gaynor is one of the last, it says here, surviving actors of the golden age of Hollywood musicals.
Yeah.
I mean,
93.
Fred Astaire's gone. Debbie Reynolds is gone. Gene Kelly is gone. Donald O'Connor is gone. I mean, I'll go all night long with these people. They were tremendous. I wasn't big on musicals when I was a kid. Lately, I've seen some that I like Showboat, Oklahoma with Shirley Jones, Gordon McRae. But she was outstanding. So we want to wish the family of this wonderful lady, Mitzi Gaynor. And this is why I do this show, because if you're young, you're learning tonight.
That's right. I had to do some learning for this one, Mike.
Joe, I'll never forget. Joe said something about Liam Payne. And, I have to make tough decisions. Okay. And I know he was popular, but he hadn't even reached the age of 35 yet. And I know he was huge, but he was mainly huge he was huge here, but really huge in England and Europe. Okay. So I made the decision. We'll do an honorable mention. I've done that before with other people. Sometimes I could just hear Joe groan because I know that Joe sent me something on Liam. And I said, I don't think so, Joe.
I don't know, Mike. I thought 70 million records sold was a big deal.
I understand. But
that's why we're talking about him now.
That's why we're doing it. Because once I did my investigation, 70 million records is fantastic. There's been plenty of people that sold 70 million records, but I think the interesting part of the story was who was watching over these guys, because they were on the X Factor with Simon Cowell, right?
Mm-hmm.
See how Joe got hot when he's 70 million, like he was like Colonel Parker. 70 million, pal. Anyway, they all broke up. And they're good looking guys. I mean, look, I go back to Backstreet Boys, I go back to those groups even. Well, I go before them, but In Sync, the Backstreet Boys. This kid did remind me of Timberlake a little bit, by his looks, and by his manner. Harry Styles has done well. But why did they break up, Joe? Because they were successful. But wait.
I think they just all wanted to do their own stuff, Yeah. They were talking about getting back together too, but obviously that won't happen now.
Now, you said something earlier. We were talking about it. And you said that, okay, when I was a kid and I went to the Catholic school, the nuns made it imperatively clear that suicide was the mortalest of sins.
Sure.
It was the worst thing you could do. The life you're given is the only life you're going to have. But, the nuns were nuns. They didn't go over. That was 40, 50 years ago. I still think suicide, I'm not going to say it's the coward's way out. I'm not going to say it's the easy way out, because I think it takes guts sometimes to do it, unless you're completely out of your mind. There have been people that have pretended to commit suicide. I worked as a military policeman, and I worked in confinement, and we had a guy cut his wrist once, but you're supposed to cut it the long way. When they cut it this way, you're going to be okay. If you do it this way, you're not. But I always was wondering how much it takes guts even to do it this way.
Sure.
But I'm still dead set against it. I don't like it when for instance, Anthony Bourdain.
Right.
He was completely out of his mind. He was on heroin. He was on junk. He couldn't handle himself. He couldn't control his own ship. Yet, they put him on the cover of People magazine. I have a problem with that. Now, Robin Williams is a different story. I loved Robin Williams, but Robin Williams was embarrassed by the way he was. I don't think he was embarrassed. Like Michael J. Fox had basically the same type of symptoms with his Parkinson's. And when they put Robin Williams on the cover, I go, he committed suicide, man. But I understand.
Yeah, the mental aspect of it.
The mental aspect of it. Michael J. Fox he goes in front of people like Kirk Douglas did with the stroke. And like, I'm going to face it. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
Takes
guts for sure.
Yeah. Then you see Steve McMichael from the Chicago Bears, and you see him fighting for his life. So everybody handles things differently. I was taught no matter what to fight it out, but you never know where you're going to be at a certain thing. This kid here, you said earlier, and there he is. You said earlier, Joe, that it could have been some tomfoolery too, right?
Yeah. So he was at a hotel in Buenos Aires, and obviously he was doing a lot of drugs. Third floor balcony. Apparently he
drugs and booze.
There's a lot of speculation that he had a lot of communication with hotel workers. He was in the lobby throwing a fit, smashing a laptop, being unruly. And the speculation is, and again, it's all speculation. I'm not an investigator or whatever, but that he got some of these drugs from a hotel employee, potentially, and that they forced him back into his room knowingly that he was not well and really out of his mind.
And got the drugs, allegedly, from somebody that worked on the staff of the hotel.
Correct. Yes.
And now they're going to look to find out who did that, and they're going to charge that person, and then they're going to find out.
Correct. The toxicology report came back from the autopsy saying that he was not conscious when he jumped. Wow, so that tells you it could be two things. He could have been so messed up that he fell off, or he could have got tossed over. So
they said he broke 25 different bones, and that his brain hemorrhaged, bled inside. So we wanted to give Liam Payne, his family, his bandmates, who all had something very poignant to say.
And Mike, along those lines, I do have the statement from One Direction real quick. I'll put it up. We're completely devastated by the news of Liam's passing in time, and when everyone is able to, there will be more to say. But for now, we will take some time to grieve and process the loss of our brother, who we love dearly. The memories we shared with him will be treasured forever. For now, our thoughts are with his family, his friends, and the fans who loved him alongside us. We will miss him terribly. We love you, Liam, Louis, Zane, Niall, and Harry.
And Mike.
And Mike and Joe.
Joe, I will say this. Maybe I had the trigger finger on, but we have done, I think, him pretty good justice tonight by giving him more than what we usually do. Because after I read a lot of the stuff, I said, like Joe just said, 70 million records. Joe was like Colonel Parker.
Welcome to snow business.
Yeah, 70 million records, kid, and don't ever forget it. And the Styles will be back, Anyway, to him, tough. That's tough.
Very tough.
Family. Parents are still alive. Girlfriend.
Yes. And he's got a son, a 7-year-old son.
Oh, that's what
that's the worst part.
That's what makes me mad, Joe. That's something like that. I mean, you try to get straight for your kid, but it wasn't meant to be.
When you think about it as a father myself, that just breaks my heart.
Right? Right? My God. Anyway, condolences to the Gaynor family, Mitzi Gaynor, and to of course Liam Payne and his family. And on behalf of Joe, I almost forgot. Guess what? You can't have a funeral without a chapel. You can't have a casket without a room.
That's right.
You can't have people come unless you have parking. You can't make arrangements unless you have competent people helping you. They have been in the business. And that's where Cumberland Chapels comes in. Yes, world famous Cumberland Chapels. 8300 West Lawrence, Norwich, Illinois, 60706. Tony Lupo Sr., Tony Lupo Jr., the Martinos, great people. They take care of you. from beginning to end. Plenty of parking, great recommendations. I've been to many, unfortunately, wakes there over the years, and they just do a tremendous job, and we appreciate everything that Cumberland Chapels brings to the table. 8300 West Lawrence Avenue, Norwich, Illinois, CumberlandChapels.com. I really recommend them. And then we got Pennyville Station. Phoebe was there the other day with a friend of hers from school that she hadn't seen for a long time. We bring people there because Tony Antonacci wants a first-class establishment. And I was there. I go there during the day, and his dad Tino's there most of the time. He might be off a day during the week, but not much. He's one of the top the ambassador of restaurants in Chicago on the northwest side, the northwest suburbs. There's Tony, there's Jesse Rogers, and myself. 112 Main Street, Park Ridge, Illinois. So, Joe, great job.
You too, my friend.
I found out more about Liam Payne. You found out more about Mitzi Gaynor, and now we won't find out much more about them because they're both RIP, and we once again give our condolences. We'll see everybody next time, and let's take a couple days off, folks. Let's get a little break here because they're dropping like flies, like Joe says. See you next time.